Yes, peeps, what's going on? Adam McKola here. This is the preview for Burnley against Manchester United. I am Adam. He is Dean. We are back. We are live. Hope you guys are doing well. In the comments, we have already seen Jose Mourinho's pre-match press conference today. And he's been... You know what? I was just speaking to Dean before we got live. Like, they very rarely ask him footballing questions, and that's a big frustration. But he was even speaking about philosophers and all sorts, and managed to chuck in a little dig at Spurs. There was some team news though, and we will get to that very, very soon. But first things first, how are you doing? And Dean, what is your immediate reaction? We haven't had any reaction on this channel yet to the Champions League group, Juventus, Valencia, and Young Boys.
I think it's a tough group. I mean, to be honest, I think in previous years when we've actually been in the Champions League, I think we've, like I said, I think we've had kind of an easy draw for me. And we fortunately we don't seem to get drew against real top teams. And obviously, I think a lot of that's due to obviously we're seeded high. Like you've seen, I think Liverpool, we're seeded lower than us, even though they got to the Champions League final. But in terms of the group, I think it's a tough group, man. I think Juventus, obviously, Italian champions, have just got Ronaldo. They've got like a wealth of attacking talent anyway. They're good defensively. Valencia, I think to be honest, anyone who gets into the Champions League via Spain, I think is going to be a tough team. And I think obviously they're not Barca, Real or Atletico, but they're still going to be a tough opponent, especially over there. And I think obviously Young Boys, you'd think obviously
Swiss team.
Yeah, you'd be thinking you got to really get 6 points from them.
They should be the whipping boys, really, innit, in the group.
Yeah.
But you never know. You never know. I mean, we lost against Basel, which was a Swiss side in the past. So we can't. I know obviously they're not the same team, but we can't underestimate anybody in the Champions League. And we've seen in recent years Sevilla knocked us out. So we know the Spanish teams can do a job. Anyway, let's get focused on the Burnley against Manchester United game, because that's what game is up next. Now the team news is Diego Dalot and Sergio Romero will play for the under-23s today, so they're making their return from injury. Marcos Rojo is back in training, and of course against Spurs, Manchester United had the return of Ander Herrera, Nemanja Matic, Antonio Valencia and Alexis Sanchez. So we've got close to a full first team squad. It seemingly looks like Martial and Bailly were just left out of the matchday squad, and they will be available for this weekend, whether selected or not. So we're getting close to a full first team, which is obviously a benefit for Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, I think it's a benefit having everyone available. At the same time, a lot of them haven't all had a good pre-season, obviously. So not just us, obviously, a lot of other teams as well had players at the World Cup. But obviously, it's good news in terms of obviously we've got compete from all of our squad. So it can only be a benefit, but obviously we need to transfer in terms of our players individually into like a winning unit and start winning some games. Hopefully it starts against Burnley.
It's a big game against Burnley, isn't it? Obviously, last season I think we beat them at their ground, if I remember correctly. I know Anthony Martial scored. Was it 1-1 or was it 2-0 victory? I'll have to double check that. But Burnley, nevertheless, are a very difficult side to play against. The way that Sean Dyche has them set up, they'll be ready for this game. They've obviously had Europa League Thursday, but they did rest a fair few games. Jose Mourinho always said he was at the game, so he would have got to see how they're playing at the moment. I do think the Europa League game will take it out of them, but at their own ground, in front of their own fans, they're going to be difficult to beat. And it's probably one of the least fancied games you'd want, where you kind of need to win, because we can't be going 3 games beaten on the run, can we?
I don't know about that. I think there's other games I'd prefer not to have. I'd prefer not to have City away next. Like,
no, but it's a difficult game. Do you know what I mean?
It's a difficult game. I think at the same time, though, I think it's a winnable game. Them having Europa League doesn't help. Obviously, they got knocked out as well, so that don't help them. But hopefully, obviously, we can kind of turn it on. I think again with kind of every team, in my opinion, United's like everyone's cup final, so they're gonna be up for it. And let's not kid ourselves. So we need to be at the races as well.
How do you think we played against Spurs? Because there were signs of improvement. I mean, the first half performance it didn't feel like it was by design. I'm gonna be honest. It felt kind of like, we tried and we went for it a little bit, but it didn't feel like by design. But it was a better performance from the players. Do you think that defeat could have like a detrimental effect on them going into this game? or do you think the performance may be a positive that comes out of it?
I think, for me, I think if you lose and you play badly, I think obviously there's no positive you can take. But we lost, and at certain times, first half was the better team. It's arguably like out of the 6 halves of football we've played, the first half was our best one out of them all this season. So for me, there is still a lot there is positive to take, because again, it's like if you win badly, like as much as you won, it's like it doesn't necessarily breed confidence if you didn't play well. And I think, like I say, our first half performance was, you'd say it's not by design. I think, in my opinion, it was. I think having Valencia so high as opposed to as a right back and these other things that he changed, I think was Mourinho. And I think obviously the players reacted. I'm not suggesting it's all Mourinho, but I think the players reacted. Unfortunately, we just didn't take our chances.
Who do you think we should go with in defence? Because that's the big thing for me now. We've seen 2 games, 2 different pairings at the back, and we've seen 2 dreadful performances, really, because mistakes have led to goals in both of those games. Smalling and Jones not good enough. Jones injured now, so he's out of this game on Sunday. Would you keep Smalling in the team? Do you bring Bailey and Lindelof back in? Marcus Rojo's back in training, so he could possibly be available. I think that's the big question mark for me, and that's like, I said this at the start of the season, and that's why like it's not too surprising that centre half is a position that's coming back to haunt us. Yes, we've got Valencia back, Delo's back today for the 23s. We've got Luke Shaw, who's playing fantastically well, and congratulations to him on his England call-up. But centre half at the moment is a real worry. Where do we go?
I think, to be honest, depend. Like we could. Well, from there, you've only got 3 players to pick from: Smalling, Lindelof, and Baye. I think Baye and Smalling for myself. But I think, to be honest, I think as much as we want to focus on the defence, I think the best way to defend is from the front in it. So I think the whole team kind of needs to now, not to say we haven't in the past, but everyone kind of needs to take on that role. And the best way to the best form of defence is attacking it. So, you know what I'm saying? We need to score more goals. We need to take our chances. If we take our chances against, we're gonna get cause problems for Burnley. We're gonna get chances. We know this. Like before the game, we can say we're gonna get chances. We need to take them. If we start taking chances, I think we can put games to, not necessarily to bed, but it's if you score straight away, it changes the team's approach. They have to play differently, which can then allow us to.
Rifleman says Rojo Bailey.
No, not for me. Like.
Especially Dylan Rojo's suggests Matic going back centre half. I don't want to see that at all.
That's like
Matic is pretty slow for central midfield. To see him at centre half would be fucking dreadful, I think.
I don't think he's as slow as people would say.
Nah, he is.
I think he's not the quickest, but he's not no slouch. And I don't know about that.
Red Devil Dylan. I'm guessing his joke. It says Fred Herrera and Matic back 3. Mancunian Red says centre half is not the problem, it's scoring goals that's the problem. I agree, but even if Lukaku takes his chance against Spurs, we still can see 3 goals against Spurs because our defenders are fucking useless.
They have to think like, obviously again, it's like if we score, the game can get, again, what happened to us, the game can get put to bed pretty easily. If you say let too many men forward and lose the ball, bangs, it's game over.
Yeah, but that's a problem
it's like,
for me. Like
we need to be making.
But in big games, like for me, like you have to be a team that can keep a clean sheet as well. And when we don't look like that, there's gonna be games. There's gonna be games where like it's gonna be 0-0. You're gonna need to like keep that clean sheet and hope that
For me,
especially against Spurs.
Nah, for me,
like if you're giving away 3 goals, you're not winning the game more than likely. Even if you take chances.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but you've got to.
When was the last time you scored 4 goals against a big team under Van Gaal?
But that should be the goal, isn't it? Like I think we should be looking to score more goals. I think last season, to be honest, I think if you look at what happened in the league, City obviously won a lot more games than us, but they scored. They only conceded 1 less than us, but they scored.
Okay, so then how does Jose get us scoring goals? Because that's obviously been a problem of his.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that's what, to me, that's what. As much as when people are looking for defenders, and again, it's very obvious we probably need another defender, but we don't score enough goals. Like I say, City, even though they only conceded, I think 1 less than us last season, they scored 39 more goals. That changes a lot more results than as much clean sheets as you want. You know what I'm saying? Goals change games, and I think, to be honest, that's where we need to focus on. I think obviously the only.
So then, how do we get the best out of these players? You need to finish your chances, innit? To be fair, Lukaku last season scored 27 goals, his best tally. We didn't even create that many chances for him.
You should have scored more.
Jose Mourinho's sides haven't created enough chances for United.
But we've had in certain games where even we lost and things last season, we did have chances, we just didn't take them.
Lally says drop Lukaku, play Rashford.
I don't. To be honest, I don't think Rashford is greatest as a number 9 for me. I think it's in your head. I think it's great, but in reality, there's massive centre halves. Who's he playing against? Tarkowski or something like that. Then, you know what I'm saying? It's like your man's just gonna look to bully, man. Like physically, yes, Rashford's a bit strong, but you're getting bruised, mate. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get bruised by them. So like, you need a Lukaku. Like, you need like. You know what I'm saying? You need a guy who can kind of lead the line. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just don't think Rashford's that. I think I would like to have an alternative maybe for Lukaku, but
I think Lukaku needs to be given the treatment, and that goes for other players as well. There's a few players last season that were given too much preferential treatment in terms of selection, and I think in order to have a healthy squad, you have to have players that feel challenged for their spots. Jamie says, I would go Bailly and Lindelof, but give them a consistent run as Jones and Smalling are no for me. I agree with that as well. Mancunian Red says go with Martial up top. McKeel says 2 up top. Jake, I don't know what Jacob says. Lukaku will get bullied by those Burnley defenders, says Red Devil Dylan. Play Sanchez as striker, Martial on the left and Rashford on the right, says Mizan. Has Sanchez done anything to say he deserves to start? Not so far this season for me. He's been awful. For
me, he still looks like he still at times look like the brightest spark. Apart from Pogba. I think for me, he has to start. I think Emmanuel said he should start. I think that's a decent shot. But as much as, again, people get onto Mourinho, if he takes Lukaku out of the team, to me, what the message does that send to Lukaku? Like, you know, in terms of
he's got to fight for his spot like everybody else.
Well, okay, you say that now.
He has no problem sending that to less experience.
You say that now, innit? But then in a couple of weeks, if he does that, it's like, Mourinho stripped him of his confidence, and it's like, to me, I think Mourinho's not stupid, and I think he knows that as well. As much as players he does take in and out, for me, I think he knows there's certain players you have to be kind of cautious around. I just think that.
But no,
so for me, Lukaku starts.
To me, you can drop. So hold on. So you can drop next man just like that, and then we never see him again. But Lukaku's a special kind of. That's what you're saying.
Because of the way
Matic is someone that gets special treatment. Alexis last season was awful for long spells, continuously played. Why can't they be dropped?
I think he can be dropped.
If he's got no problem doing it to a 21-year-old, why can't he do it to Alexis Sanchez?
Because Alexis Sanchez has proved it on more occasions that he can produce.
Not for United.
Not for United, but in his own history and a career that everyone's seen.
Not for United.
Yeah, but
Martial was better than him for United. He never got played. Rashford, the same.
Yeah, no, but in terms of if you're going to place a bet on who's going to be more consistent based on what you've seen of them, I've seen more of Sanchez
at United
at the top. At United, but in terms of who's going to produce at the top level for me and from what I've seen, so Alexis, like, he's, you know what I'm saying, he's done it on a world stage. Like, they have as much potential as they've got.
I don't know. I've not seen enough from him in the United shirt. We need to see more from him, and like I say, I just think
I've seen him carry Chile, you know what I mean? Like,
they need to. We're not Chile though. We need to. And international football is different, but we need to have the same treatment for all players. Is all I'm saying. This is what frustrates me with this team. It's all well and good being a stern lead, ruling with an iron fist and doing all this with other players, but you've got to do it with everybody. And last season we saw players that constantly played when they were playing poorly. And I'm not saying 2, 3, 4 games in a row, which is fair enough. Like I'm saying now, I want to see Bailly and Lindelof given a run. They deserve it. But there was players that played 10, 15 games on a spin, and they were awful for most of them. So that's what I don't like. You got to have the same.
I was talking about Smalling, yeah.
Alexis.
I just think that
Matic second half of the season was awful.
But Matic in his position offers more than a lot of, who want Scott McTominay?
No.
Who would you prefer there? Herrera, you've got to play.
Herrera in the season before that was our best player of the season, and then last season wasn't seen because we just continuously played Matic.
No, but at the same time when he played, he wasn't on the same level.
But there you go, so you get what I'm saying? There's inconsistency between what you're saying and the treatment of the players by Mourinho. This is what
to me, I think we look a more kind of settled team with Matic in the team, and not for me.
I don't necessarily completely agree with that. I think it's hard to tell because he plays all the time, but nevertheless, I think this season Matic has his games in it, and Burnley, I think he should be playing against Burnley. He'd be in my team. But there's going to be some games where I don't think we should be playing him because he does slow things down.
Yeah, I think that's why. Obviously, again, we've got Fred there. Obviously, you offer something alternative anyway. But obviously, Pereira's there. I think against certain teams where you need to pop out.
Rifleman says, "Would you not expect better from Alexis since he's had no World Cup and a full pre-season?"
Yeah, maybe, but at the same time, it's only the start of the Premier League. As much as it's been 3 games, yes, but you know what I'm saying. If he scores from in this next game and every game to the end of the season, you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying he will, but it's just form in it, you know what I'm saying. Just form. There's only 3 games we've been played, so
interesting. What would your 11 be?
Obviously, you got De Gea, obviously. Shaw is a shoe-in for sure. You know what I'm saying? For me, obviously, again, even prior to his injury, I think that game the game against Spurs was, for me, he looked like his best game in terms of, because he was doing a lot of stuff by himself. He didn't have a winger out there kind of to help him. I think obviously he has to play. I think if Jones is out, I think obviously you have to put Bailly and Smalling. I'd like to put Lindelof there because he's young and obviously we paid a lot of money for him. But for me, just as I've never ever seen in him what anyone else saw in terms of a great defender. And obviously, like I say, some of the things he was doing against Spurs, the pass back.
It's better than Smalling for me, and that's why you're playing.
I don't know. I think even that, but it's technically he's better than Smalling, etc. But it's just the physicality, because you're not playing well as a defender. So I'd rather Smalling's physicality. At least it's for me. It's you know what I'm saying. If Hughes marking Kane, I think he jumps in your face or something. I don't know. But so for me, I think you say Smalling and by right back thing. Obviously, you got to go with Valencia. Even though we did look good, I thought when he was in a more advanced role. In midfield, I think obviously if Matic is for me, I'd play Matic.
In this game, I'd play Matic.
Yeah, I think obviously away from home, Pogba and Fred, I would keep the faith with. I think Pogba for me has to put in a good performance. Obviously, I think Fred's been. I thought he had a decent game against Spurs. To be honest, he shows a lot of good promise going forward, and then. For me, I think you have to go with Alexis on the left. Alexis on the left, Lukaku, and because of his performance against Spurs, even though obviously we lost, I think Lingard has to play. I think just what Lingard offers, I think he kind of has to play.
I'd have Lingard in my team as well. I'd go David De Gea, Valencia, Bailly, Lindelof, Shaw, Matic, Herrera, Pogba. I'd go with Lingard, Lukaku. Personally, I'd go with Martial, but I don't think I'd see.
No shock.
And I'll see Rashford. I wouldn't play Sanchez. I don't think he's really done anything to say that he deserves to. I think the other day when we looked to the bench and we were 2-0 down, and the fact we didn't bring Rashford on was quite frankly disgrace. I know we weren't helped by the fact that we had. Bro, but you're defending Sanchez here, bro. Your argument about Rashford there is null and void already because
I've seen Sanchez do for years.
I expect inconsistency from Rashford, but that's why he needs to play. He's a young lad. But I don't expect inconsistency from a 29-year-old player that's but tried and tested for who? It's like saying Mourinho's tried and tested, but for who? Not for us. You can only judge on what you're doing. What have you done for me lately? And Sanchez ain't done shit.
That's what you know what I'm saying. To me, it's I've seen, if I'm placing a bet in who do you reckon will score more goals this season?
I reckon if I'm a fullback, I'd want to play Sanchez more than Rashford.
Who's scoring more goals this season?
Sanchez drops deep all the time. His shoulders. Bro, maybe if you held your line, we might have something in form of balance. But when you're dropping deep and you're becoming bro, people used to get onto Rooney for that. I used to get onto Rooney for that. It was fucking awful. You can't be dropping deep like that all the time. I don't know why Sanchez gets away with Jose came in and so much.
Rooney's never.
I don't know what you and Mourinho's seen Sanchez that why does Sanchez get this special treatment, bro? I don't understand it. He's been here 6 months and he ain't done nothing.
That is 6 months, you know what I'm saying?
But he's 29. He's in they came younger.
Patrice they were whack for 6 months.
Bro, Sanchez knows the league. He knows the league.
He's doing another team.
He knows the league. He's 29.
This is
like the thing
you're coming from playing you're coming from playing football like Arsenal, yeah. So again, you can see with our football, it's not even
Whose fault's that? This is like what Mancunian Red says. Mourinho has been here 2 seasons and he still doesn't know his best 11 or put an identity in place. There's no cohesion in our team. Bro, there you go.
What's the best 11?
That's the manager's fault. This is what I don't get. Why are you so blind?
All the players are inconsistent.
You literally say things, which would mean there's a problem with your manager. But then when someone points out that, the manager should have sorted this out, you say, oh, but do you know the best 11? But like Mourinho should know his best 11. Mourinho works with these players week out. He works with these players, and like he should know what the fuck's going on. Because if we don't, he don't, who the fuck does?
Pogba, you'd think he's in our best 11. Your man is too inconsistent. One week he's a world beater. Next week he's just getting bossed. You know what I'm saying? Like you're getting bossed at Brighton. Like how are you bossing Leicester? Then you come to Brighton and it's like, I'm just going to get bossed. I couldn't even tell you them midfielders, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know there's centre midfielders like that. You know what I'm saying? Does anyone else, if you're not a Brighton fan? No? Because, you know what I'm saying? It's
Gross is good.
Who?
Pascal Gross. He's good. Pratic's 11s, De Gea, Valencia, Smalling, Bailly, Shaw, Matic, Herrera, Fred, Martial, Lingard, Lukaku. 4-3-1-2 will get the best out of all our players. Jones should be sold to Pratt. It's too late for talking about transfers now.
Man's looking to sell him to Spain's last day. Or
Michael says Sanchez gets special treatment because Mourinho doesn't criticise him like he has done with Martial. Jacob says Sanchez is quality. True, the manager is paid to manage the team. Our team doesn't look managed, says Callum Hack.
We finished second last season, and
we didn't. But bro, how did you feel watching the games? When you watch football, did that say to you that's the second best team in England? Once.
The league table don't lie.
Bro, but how many games did you come out?
Let's forget opinions, innit?
No. Forget that.
Let's not get this twisted.
Ultimately, second place, first loser, we lost, bro.
I'm not celebrating. I'm just saying.
You lost.
If you're looking at the league, it's like, who's the second best team? United.
You lost. You're second best, first loser. You lost.
Well, you're gonna suggest Liverpool had a better season because they lost in the Champions League final?
No, but ultimately, I don't give a fuck about Liverpool. I care about
Man
United.
I'm saying, but
I watch Man United week in, week out. How many times in the last 2 years I've left Old Trafford and felt satisfied? I don't even know, man. Like,
if you're in a race of 20 people and you come second, as much as you can be wounded, it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but second place is first loser. Second place is nothing.
For real? But
these are the same things we criticise other people.
We're not being winning the league.
We're criticised Spurs for putting the pressure on. Now all of a sudden, second place should be second place is amazing. No, it's not. It's whack. And like,
but there's only one place between second and first, and last season was 19 points the difference. So as much as obviously again we were second, but it's like there's a massive gap. Let's not forget there was a massive golfing class between.
Michael says the league table doesn't lie. Clearly it did, because look at us now.
3 games in.
Spartan points out injuries. Yes, I agree to a certain extent, but I also disagree to a certain extent as well. Sanchez has actually done nothing. He drops too deep, and thus we lose one attacker while attacking. Says Pratik. We are very imbalanced. I think that's partly down to signings and partly down to the way the team is selected and plays. If we had a right winger, a natural one, we might be all right. United couldn't even put the pressure on, says JSB. That's a big point as well. Like, we may have finished second, but did it ever feel like we were in a title race?
They blew everyone away in it. Like, you can't be coming at the Olympics saying, "Oh, no one give Usain Bolt a good race."
We couldn't even beat him at home.
Record, you know what I'm saying? It's like City just got the most points in this league season. You talking about, no one ran them close. It's like, unless you're getting close to that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even then, we could got 90 points. You still ain't winning the league. 95 points, still ain't winning the league. And that would be a 6th season. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you, as much as it was, like I said, in any other season, we would be probably challenging for the league in it. But City ran away with it, and it's like, what can we do? We've only got 6. We got 6 points to get. You know what I'm saying? To play for against City that we can affect them. The rest is everyone else, and if they're battering like everyone else, what can we do?
I think at the moment, just way too much excuses and not enough being done, man. And something
City
needs
with a
to be
better
done.
team, that City with a better team.
Yeah, but this is what pisses me off, man. This is seriously, like, I have it all the time with Steve and Dave on full time. It fucking does my head in. Like, you ask them a question about Man United, and you do it as well. Like, within the first 3 sentences, you brought up City and Liverpool. I don't give a fuck about City. I don't care about City and Liverpool. You just said we're the second best team in the league, so why are you bringing up Liverpool?
Nah, because I'm saying, obviously, look, if you're second in a race and out of 20 teams, that's not.
Nah.
It's disappointing, isn't it? But it's like, yo, we got.
Do we look like the second best team in the league?
Do we look like a? But no. we were in it. Like,
no, but we don't.
You know what I'm saying,
we don't play like it. And that's the thing. Like towards it, this is what.
What does the second team
play
like?
Towards the end of the season.
What does the second team play like?
Towards the end of the season, like we finished second, and like we never kind of used that as a momentum or a springboard because everything was negative. The way we approached the FA Cup final, negative. The way we were in the pre-season, negative. The way Jose was in pre-season, negative. Now, if I'm a young lad and I'm playing for Man United and I'm going through a season, I don't want to hear about how negative things are. I don't want to hear about how this is going to be a hard season. What does that say about your team? Like, don't you want to get the best out of them? Is it a surprise we've lost 2 out of 3 games?
Setting expectations.
That has been but
let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
we spent £400 million. He's got one of the best strikers in the league, one of the best central midfielders in the world. Apparently, a world-class Alexis Sanchez. We've got all these players. We don't play like it. That's the thing for me. Like, I don't care if we don't win the league, but play like the sum of our parts. We don't. For me, at times, I just don't. People say we got a shit team. We haven't got a shit team. That's bullshit. That is so much bullshit. Like, come on, bro. We got a shit fullback. Okay, all right. We got shit centre.
Who's our best midfielder?
Pogba. Bro, we got
How inconsistent is he?
We've also got bro, you gotta get the best out of him. Like everywhere else, he wasn't inconsistent at Juventus. 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 He wasn't inconsistent in France.
It's a different league.
So all of a sudden now,
it's a different league.
Paul Pogba is inconsistent. All of a sudden now, Paul Pogba is not a great player. Like,
I'm not saying he's not a great player. He's inconsistent.
What?
I think he would admit that.
All of a sudden, Alexis Sanchez is whack. Like, what? All of a sudden, like, Bailly has gone from being a fantastic centre-half to being
the hottest striker in Europe at one point. Went to Chelsea.
But you're just saying Sanchez should start every game.
I'm just saying who do I think who can offer me more out of these two if they have a good game? I think Alexis Sanchez can. Based on what
if they have a good game, but they haven't had good. He hasn't had enough.
But
good
who do I think? Who's had just technical ability anyway? Technical ability. Who's better? I think Alexis Sanchez is better. For me.
The pink shirt will unlock Pogba, says Trev. John says finishing 4th or 2nd has no difference. We need a right back, 2 centre backs, and a backup striker.
That's what I'm saying. Your man says they're on about Pogba wasn't that great at Juve. Check the stats. It's like I haven't clocked his stats. I don't watch Italian football, but at the same time, I think people saw potential there. That's what I'm saying. I don't think his stats were that great from what I remember of seeing, but it's like it was. To me, it's just signs of potential. Like he is, this geezer's gonna be sick. So I think he looks like he's got everything, and it's like he will be sick. But it's like to me, I thought he would be.
James says Sanchez should be Lukaku's backup. I agree with that as well. So that could possibly work. It would be something that would get the best out of both of them. I think it's difficult to put someone like Sanchez on a bench consistently throughout the season, but you've got to hope that he can find form. But I don't think. He's in form at the moment, but I don't know, man. You can't start.
I've seen Sanchez play for Arsenal against United, best player on the pitch, man. And it's like people. It's like I don't know. So a lot of people. To me, it's like when we was linked with Sanchez, I don't remember anyone suggesting that. I don't think we should get Sanchez. Obviously,
no one. But you've got to base it on what we've seen and what we've seen so far. But like, sorry, football's a cruel mistress. What we've seen so far is not good enough. Like you have to be then sufficient to okay. You rotate him out. Whoever comes in. If they don't perform after, then you got. I've never mentioned no names, bro. Rashford, Martial, Lingard, never. But Sanchez has been worse than Martial, bruv. He had a worse season than Martial last season. People love to bring up Martial looks like he don't care. Have you seen the state of Sanchez's face when we're playing half the time? He looks like he's less bothered than anybody. And then also, people talk about Martial's inconsistencies. Last season up until January, he scored double figures in goals, double figures in assists. And then he gets pulled out of the team. Sanchez isn't sufficient to the same rotation or the same criticism or the same judgment in his performances. And then he'll lose confidence. When it was Rashford and Martial being man-managed and rotated accordingly, they both were performing very well. The problem started in January when Jose was unable to man-manage that situation. Now you could ask, was Sanchez a signing that he wanted to make? And if the answer to that is no, then that's a whole different story and a whole different figure of blame. But like you've got to be able to manage these players.
I don't see Jose turning down Alexis Sanchez like for 1 second. I think if he didn't think of that and he was after him, I think he's snappy. He's snappy, and I would have snapped.
No, everyone would. Everyone should have. I wanted Sanchez. I still want Sanchez in a Man United shirt, and I still think this season will be a big season for him. But so far, he hasn't been good enough to warrant or suggest he should be starting the next game.
I don't know. Like I say, he's form is. Ferguson said it best, and form is temporary, class is permanent. But if that statement's true, then Alexis Sanchez has to play for me. Like that's what I think.
In that case, we'd still have Wayne Rooney at the club, and you may as well call Bobby Charlton in as well.
Obviously, his fitness levels and that's different. You get me? Like you can't. He's a long.
Sometimes I think he can do too much though, as well. Like like that thing with Rooney where it kind of gets frustrating sometimes, where he'd be dropping stop dropping in midfield, stay on the shoulder. I remember one game in pre-season where he played up top. I know it's pre-season, it's difficult to say anything, but where he was constantly on the shoulder. We were trying to pick him holes in the flanks and behind the defenders, and he looked good. He looked good in pre-season. It hasn't looked good in the competitive games, and it will come, but he's got to be subject to the same rotation and I think with same thing. Ultimately, he's getting paid way more than any of them, and he's not justifying it.
But it's based on his reputation, and I think in all walks of life that just happens. I think people who've got more experience than you, are better than you know what I'm saying. They get more, get cut more slack in it. That's the way I see that. He's done so much in football. How can you what has Martial as great as he looks like he could be? You know what I'm saying. You've not. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you can even come back and say you won the World Cup because you didn't get picked, you get me? And then obviously people can say that's because you didn't play for United, but they thought obviously there's next man in your position who's better than you. They went on to win the World Cup, innit? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, Pogba went on to win the World Cup.
But bro,
a month ago, bro.
You got bossed by Brighton, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got bossed by Brighton.
Spurs, you get me?
We got bossed by Brighton.
Couldn't create a goal in 2 games, you know what I'm saying? It's like...
When did the manager stop being open to I just don't know, man. But anyway, what's your you never do, but that's all right.
I can criticize.
You never do, man. You never have and you never will. But anyway, what's your and when it's all over, you're gonna be like.
I think against Sevilla, I think he got it wrong, but I think.
Bro, he got it wrong way more times than Sevilla, and this is what you don't.
Yeah, I think obviously again, I think anyone in any role, you're gonna make mistakes in it. So that's not. We're not we're stating the obvious, and he's obviously made mistakes. We haven't won every game, so obviously something's gone wrong, innit? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think he's not. Again, I just don't think some of the players help him out at certain times.
But I think he's got to help his
Spurs.
players.
If you know your players, it's different game.
You got to know your players.
Different game.
Some may ask.
Just put to bed.
Why are they lacking confidence? I don't know. That's a different story for a different day. Right, Burnley game coming up. Burnley, you fearing Burnley at all? Anyone from there you want to look at or talk about or?
No, I was in terms of they just seem to have fell off it. They look. Obviously, they got knocked out of Europe. Obviously, they looked alright last season, and not in terms of their football because I think they scored one of the lowest amounts of goals in the Prem. But obviously, they finished high enough to get into Europe. But I'm not fearful of them at all. And I think, to be honest, teams like this is where a lot of our problems come. I think is teams like this who just happy to just sit in, and we need to attack, we need to be finished. We need to be creating more and taking our chances. And I think again, this is what's gonna happen in this game. I think obviously we'll get the ball. You know what I'm saying? I think they'll be dangerous from set pieces and stuff. But I think we just need to step it in terms of the football.
Lukaku does need to have a big game because likely he's going to start.
He needs to finish on it. If he gets a chance, he needs to bury mate. You know what I'm saying? The bar's been set high in all the world football. You look at the numbers Ronaldo and Messi's being putting up.
He was the best striker at the World Cup, to be fair. So it's not like he's not done nothing recently, but he needs to rediscover that form for Manchester United. And I know he played a different role for Belgium, but even then, I remember at the World Cup, he was bullying defenders and that. And against Brighton, against Spurs, he was chasing his own touch. He was the stereotypical Lukaku kind of criticisms, and it was unfortunate to see. What's your score prediction
for the game? I've been wrong the last couple of games, to be honest.
We all have.
2-1 United.
I'm going 2-0 United.
2-0. You think he keeps clean sheet?
I feel Lukaku and Pogba's scoring.
Clean sheet.
Yeah, clean as.
Okay.
Clean as a whistle. How De Gea ain't kept a clean sheet this season, It's unusual him to go 4 games without a clean sheet, isn't it?
Yeah, probably would based on our previous this last couple of years, but at the same time we've looked. Like I say, in the last couple of games we conceded I think 6 goals last 2 games. I can't see that. I can see teams are getting chances against us. I think the worrying thing for me is the fact that I think now, and it's been for kind of a while, I think teams just think we're kind of there for like, or our defence can get got at, especially I think from set pieces.
I was about to say something.
And I just think that again, I just don't think teams respect us as much as well. It kind of happens all around the league, though. To be honest, obviously, every game is kind of a big game. But
everyone's spending money. Got big players. They're expecting to do things these days. So you're playing teams with different mentalities. But obviously, like United used to beat teams in a tunnel, and long gone are those days. But we need to get back to winning games of football. And I'm fingers crossed. I'm not confident, but I'm predicting a win. But yeah, anyway. Me and Dean are recording the first of Straight Up Sports, which will be up this weekend as well. We're doing that today, so make sure you check that out. The link is in the description below to subscribe to Straight Up. So get on that. And before I go, Dean, any final words?
Nah, man, just subscribe to the thing, and obviously let man know in the comments, and if obviously like certain things I say, man, don't agree, or if you agree, just let me know, and I'll be there, innit?
Dean's gonna come hunting for you in the comments. We'll catch you later.